Hey everybody, how you doing today? Superfiend here. Welcome back to Whacky World. Of course, this is Let's Play Planet Coaster. And what are we going to be working on today? We're going to be working on this little area of the park. And what are we going to do back here? Well, if you look at park management and we look at the guests, we can see that they're perpetually hungry and thirsty and need to go potty. And that they're a little bit tired. So I think what we're going to do today is we're going to start building another one of those useless food courts with benches and stuff that they refuse to sit in. That's what we're going to be doing today back over here. And I started working on this yesterday, and then you know what? I thought to myself, this would be a good time to show people how to do like slightly more advanced things with the paths and whatnot. So that's what we're going to do today. It's going to kind of act as like a little bit of a path tutorial, how to do more advanced food courts and stuff with the path system, how to make it look nice. Before we jump into that, let me show you another one that I did in case you're coming into the series late. We have shops, restrooms, and a shop back here, and there's picnic benches. So there is paths like all underneath here, and but you can't see them, right? But we do have people. If I unpause it, we have the guests that are walking around back here and interacting with the scenery, although they never sit down on the benches. Don't ask me why. And so that's kind of what we're going to be doing back there. When I built this one a while ago, I kind of built the paths off camera and then came back in and just started building everything on top of them. And this time I'm going to do it the opposite way. I'm going to build the paths and show you guys how to do all that. And then really quick, the last episode, we filled in this little planter right here, but then off camera, I finished off this wall in the little corner here with a couple signs. These signs are advertising some destinations in the park. Brought the wall back over this way and then added this little planter here. And if you saw the thumbnail the last episode, you saw the completed thing, but in the video itself, we didn't actually complete it. So here's like a little sand pit for the kids to play in while the parents or the caretakers or babysitters or whoever brought them to the stinking park sits down and eat. Okay, so let's jump over here and let's start working on this. And I'm going to pause it just because I'm starting to get a little bit of lag while trying to build with the simulation running. And let me show you kind of what I want for this, what I want it to look like. I want to have, let's see, what's the best way to show? Okay, so I want like a little raised platform in here with some seating is what I think I want. And then we want some sort of stairs that go up to that platform. And I want those stairs to kind of just be in line with this with the stairs on the pyramid there. And then I'm thinking that I'll put the shops back in here kind of like at, I don't know, 30-degree or 40-degree angles so that the people come up here, go get their food from the shop, and then like kind of come down into the seating area this way. I have doubts that they'll actually use it. But we're going to do it anyways. And then this right now is I called it haphazard water. It's a water shop. And we may end up with some like restrooms down over here with some foliage and roots and stuff on top of them to make it look like they're, you know, embedded into the terrain, something like that. So let's get started. How are we going to do this? Let me show you. The first thing we got to do is we need to destroy. So we're going to... We're going to kill some of the paths that are already here. Nobody's walking up here on these things anyways, and that's fine. We could probably get rid of this stuff too. Yeah, I'm going to go a little heavy-handed in here and just kind of... Okay, there. And so then the next thing we want to do is we're going to ruin our terrain a little bit. Don't worry, don't panic. I want all the terrain to be flat in line with the terrain down here on the lower path, so we're just going to go ahead and do this. The trees and things are going to end up floating. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're just going to flatten all this out. I'm not using a super large brush on purpose because I do want to keep most of the shape of the mountain. Okay? And when we're done fiddling with the path and doing all that, you know, all the stuff that we're going to do here, we can go back in and bring the terrain back up if we want it. And then, because we're going to have floating paths back here, the terrain is not going to meet flush with the path. And we can use foliage and rocks and stuff like that to kind of hide it. Okay. Let's just flatten this all out, though. Okay, I've destroyed all that wonderful work we did, I don't know, somewhere in episode 30 of my series. Long time ago. I've been working on this park for over a year now. Okay, so now that we did that, I said I wanted the stairs for the thing down here to kind of line up with this. And if we look right here, we can see that we've got a grid piece, which is pretty much like right in a line. So if we go ahead and just like... Why did that end up floating? No. Okay, so when you select a piece and try to duplicate it and it's putting it at a different elevation, select 3 pieces and then it will keep, like, select multiple pieces and then they'll keep the correct elevation. And then now we can get rid of these ones on the side, I guess. We're going to take these ones and we're going to split them off from this building. And then now we're going to advance move this building. And, I mean, there we go, right? That is going to be pretty much in line with the stairs. Next step, bring it down here flat to where the terrain is. And we need to decide how elevated do we want this platform. And I'm thinking not too elevated, like maybe about there. Maybe about there would work. Let's see, it's like waist high. So it's a little bit off the ground, but not so high that it blocks the view of the pyramid when you're down here on the lower path. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. And then we're going to go into this building here, and we're going to build some stairs. And I'm going to build my stairs out of the 4M beam. And if I put it on this face here and hold down F, it'll snap right into the center. And then now we can do the advanced move with 45 degrees, doink, and bring it this way. And that's pretty much in line with the sandstone tile or sandstone roof, whatever you want to call it. And then, so then we have to decide, okay, so does our step meet flush with the top or, you know, is it down like this? And I think I'm going to go almost flush with the top. Okay. And then we're going to go down. Over. And I know I said that this is going to be mostly paths, but we have to get the little steps here. We have to get them done correctly before we can do the path. Okay. And this is going to tell us... okay, so when the platform that they're going to walk on is this tall, this is how many steps we need. Okay, that's why we did that. Now we can take this... and we can slide it so that it meets almost up with the sidewalk here, with the pathway. About like that. This little bit down here, if we edit, let me just show you something we can do. I'm going to delete it, but you can take this, you can kind of move it into, I don't know, about like here. And then if we go to rotate it and take it off the advanced move, you know, we can kind of fiddle with it, and what that does is it closes up this little hole that was right there. And then if we were to go in the paths and pick this one and say no curb, and then like you redo the... What? What? Obstructed. Obstructed by what? I hate this game sometimes. Okay, so anyways, if the game would let you, you could turn the curb off, and then you wouldn't have this little thing there. But we're gonna worry about that stuff later, okay? We're gonna worry about that later. We don't need to worry about that quite yet. And I'm gonna get rid of that little beam that's right there. Okay, so then the next thing we need to do here, is we need to take these and we need to duplicate them so that they're on top of each other. And then now we're going to lower this down like ever so slightly, about that much. I'm just guesstimating. There's no real science there. And then, whoops, go back to the path. And what we want to do is we want to say, we'll pick this, the glossy vinyl one. We're not going to be able to see it when we're done. And we're going to say select grid. And we're going to pick this, the piece that's on top here. And you'll notice that as you select them both, the blue grid goes up and down. So if we select the top one, and we start making path, okay, we end up with this. Now if we go back to our building, and we go up, okay, we can see right here that the path becomes hidden by the building. So if we get rid of that piece and that piece, we end up with this. And where we've got this little bit right here, we can't turn the curbs off of floating paths, and unfortunately to get like the terrain exactly the right height is going to be kind of hard. So, like, if we wanted to get rid of this, we would have to build the path with the curb on ground path unchecked, but then you have to have the ground the correct height. I personally think it's easier to just lift this up like a little bit higher until that curb is gone, and then when the people walk on here, they'll sink through the floor a little bit. But I mean, when you're zoomed way out, who cares? And if we zoom way out here, sometimes you'll see that little railing clips through the scenery pieces. But right now it looks pretty good. It's not clipping through up there. Okay, so let's go back and let's make our path bigger. Let's make our path bigger. We're gonna go in here, select grid, pick these, boop, boop. And I think we're gonna go out about like this far on each side. And so we're gonna be putting some benches in here, like there, there. So like maybe 4 benches, and there'll be this clear walkway right through the center of it. And now it gets a little bit trickier because we also want stuff up here. And you know, I'm thinking we could maybe go a little bit deeper. I don't know for certain if we can go deeper, but I'm thinking we can. Now, if we go in here into the building, the next thing I want to do is I want to have tiers, okay? Tiers of elevation. So this is the lower tier. This is the next tier. And then up here where the shops are, and I want the shops to be like at the same elevation of where all this foliage and the steps end down here. And that is a little bit higher than where our path is. So we need to go up a little bit higher to accomplish that, right? So the way we're going to do that is we're going to take this building, we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to drag it over to here. And the steps that we've already made are telling us how tall the height difference is between the tier down here and the tier right here. So if we use the steps as like a little measuring stick, we can get this tier of pathway and this tier of pathway the same height. And we can also see that it's almost the exact same height as the foliage and stuff is anyways. Now we're going to slide this over like that so it's not in our way, because we are going to end up deleting it. And you'll see why maybe in a second. We're going to come in here. We're going to select both of these. And we're going to duplicate them so that they come back this way. Yes. Now if we pop over to this building, and we go back to about there. Okay, so now what I think we want to do is we want to duplicate one more time. We're going to get rid of this piece way in the back there. We'll select these two. And we're going to split them from the building. And then now they're going to come back like about where this is. And the reason I'm not using this one right here is because we kind of like moved it around a little bit. And I want these to be about the same height right there. Easy way to know if they're the same height is just drag this one over and then click on this one. Okay, so that's about where the height should be. Then we could move this over this way. Our little measuring stick. We're going to go back into the paths, and we're going to select grid again over here. Oh, the other thing we need to do, I almost forgot. We need to go in here. Put these on top. Okay. We're going to lower it slightly. Like about that much. Again, no real science to this. No real science. Now we can select grid. Get that one there. Okay. And we're just going to start filling in some path back here. Oh, we got some intersecting terrain. I didn't do a good job getting all that terrain out of the way. Okay, so now if we get rid of that one, is it going to let me select this one back here? It's not. And it's going to be annoying. So the easier way, select the two in front, duplicate them. Select the two in back, delete them. And then we can delete those like that. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to lift this building up again, just to cover that. And if we zoom way out, we can see if it's clipping with the ground and stuff. It's not. Goody. Okay. And then we need to push the terrain back maybe just a little bit up here. Terrain tool. Now we can't really see what we're doing, but we're just gonna push this back. Flatten this all out. Okay, we can come back in and fix anything that's not even or whatever afterwards if we have to. Like if we end up creating any holes between the scenery and the terrain, we can fix it later. We get a little. Oh yeah, and then I hate this. Oh, this drives me nuts. This is such a pet peeve. Now this stuff over here isn't going to flatten out nicely because there's a path already above it. That drives me nuts. I hate that. Okay, but we can fill this in now. Okay, so now we've got this like rectangle up top here. And let's see. It may be too wide. It may be too wide. Okay, and then another thing we could do is these are all buildings here, so we could just like lift this into the air so we can see a little bit better what we're doing. I like to group all my scenery into small reusable chunks as buildings so that you can easily move things around like that. So if we come in here, paths, not paths, terrain. So we can kind of like, yeah, see, look at, oh, I hate that. I hate that. Get rid of that piece. Get rid of that piece back there. We'll get rid of this one and that one. We'll go back to terrain. And we'll just push all of this back, right? We'll just push it back. Okay, now we can go back into the paths, select grid. Put these ones back. It didn't draw that one. Okay, now one of the other things I want to do, let me show you really quick, is over here, I have like an accessibility ramp, you know, for people who can't handle stairs. And so I've got this little ramp here. However, there's no actual path underneath it, so none of the guests actually use it. And I thought it would be cool for this one if we actually built one that they would use. And so the way to do that would be if we select grid. Oh, this needs to be, I need to push this further back for this to work. Okay, so let's see. No, you know what? The easier way is I made this too big. So we're going to get rid of all this down here, and it's just going to be the too wide. We're going to put one here, one there. We're going to deselect grid, select grid. We're going to click on this one and go out like that. And then we're going to click here and go out like that. And you already saw what it did. But we can see here that all of these are like really nicely in line with each other. So now when we click the path and we go in here, it's going to be a little bit tricky. Come on. I know you want to do it. Let's put it down to 4M. Make sure it's the correct height. Come on. Come on, you little bugger. Come on. I know you want to do it. Come on. You just got to like fiddle with it. The other thing that might make it easier, if I get rid of that piece, maybe now. Come on. Okay, let's try this. Get rid of that piece. Oh, yeah, see, look at it. Now that's, like, perfect. We'll turn on the angle snap. Boop. Okay, let's see if it lets us fill this in nicely. Yes. Yes! Look at that. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So then we'll come over here and we'll go back to paths, select grid. We'll get rid of that. And we'll get rid of that and that. So we get these little floating pieces. Take off, select grid. Boom, right there. Select grid, boop. Toggle. And see, there we go. Look at that. So now what we have here is we're going to end up with stairs in the middle. But then we've got this really nice accessibility ramps. And this time, because there's paths underneath them, the guests may actually use them. They may actually use them. And that's the most exciting part to me. The other thing that we need to look at is not with select grid. Sorry. Okay, so using 4M, if we go, like as we move down here, you can see that it likes to snap. See, there's a little spot here where it likes to snap to the 4M pieces that already exist. However, it doesn't do it on the ends. So like in here, it snaps. Out here, it doesn't snap. If you want it to snap to the one on the end, the way to do that is just extend it. And then now it will snap here, and you could make like little steps like that. And then you can get rid of the one that's there. All right, that's how you do that, if that's what you want to do. I don't think... Ooh, can we make, like, a little accessibility... Oh, let's try it. Can we make little accessibility ramps from, like, out here? Will it work? Or is it going to make stairs? Oh, that's hideous. Ugh. Blech. Blech. Oh, maybe if I turn off angle snap. That makes it wider. How do I make it longer? Oh, then it goes, like, way off over to there. That's a really long ramp. That's kind of not what I want. Okay, this part I wasn't playing with, like, beforehand, so I don't know. I guess that's not bad. All right, you can do a little thing like that. And it could be slightly curved. So we could do like that, and then let's see what we end up with over here. Okay, that's not bad. So now we got little ramps that kind of go up on the edges. If I wanted the right side over here to be more uniform like it is over here, then I could just delete some of this and extend this path more straight. But I like the curve that we have. Okay, now we're getting into another tricky part. More trickiness, okay? We're gonna blow away some more of the terrain here. Okay, we're gonna knock away some more stuff because we need some room here. We need some room. Let's see why in a minute. Okay, now this building, I'm just going to slide it way over to there for now. Again, we will probably be deleting that. What do we need? We need to go to paths, and I want... let's do select grid. Can I get one more back in there? And can I get one more... right there. Okay. And the reason I extended those back like that is because now I want to bump it up to 8M, and I want it to come out like back in here somewhere. Let's see. This is gonna be tricky. Okay, so like right here. If you're okay, let me take the cursor off. Watch this little corner right there, and watch this this what I want to call it, this perimeter of the path. Okay. So right when it breaks apart, you see how it's like curving, and then straight. So what I want is right when it becomes straight. And now I can put that right there. And then I can click that piece down. Let's turn our angle snap back on, and let's hit J to go down. Or no, let's see. Okay, yeah. So we have to no, I want it to go up. Okay, and then here is where we can kind of fiddle with it. So now we're going to turn the angle snap off. We're going to make it longer because it's going to create this nice connection with the other path that we already have. And sometimes if you hit the Z key, it makes like a slight difference with how things connect up. But in this case, it's not mattering. So let's see. If I do that and then that looks okay. Okay. And then if we want to just get the correct one that we really want, you know, it's real easy. We just do that. Okay. Oh, and then we can delete that little guy back there. But I'm going to leave it for right now because this, we may need it. I don't know that we need it, but we may want it. Okay. So now we're going to take this and just move it out of our way, just right back over there. We're going to do the same thing on this side. I think this terrain is going to be in our way. So I'll just kind of push that back just a little bit. Okay, going back to the path. 8M. Okay, same thing that we did last time. Just watch this little straight edge right here in this little corner. And what we're going to do is we're going to just drag it out right until, okay, it's curving, straight. But why did it do that? What? What is it doing? No. Yes, that's what I want. Okay, so right like that. Boom. And this is this is hideous. Okay, so what we may want to do here is it's getting too short. Okay. I think the 8 on this side, the 8 is too wide. So let's go back to path. How is it 9? Oh, I hope I didn't do 9 on the other side. I'm a dummy if I did. Because, no. Okay, well, let's see. Now, if we drop it down to 7, no. Okay, this one, I don't want to knock this mountain back too much. And so on this side, we're just going to make it slightly more narrow. So now, we did 8 before. Now we're just going to do the same thing, but with 7. And eventually, we're going to find a size that gives us, like, nicer clearance around this thing. What happens if I hit J here? No, I don't want that. Oh, come on. You bugger. Oh, I don't want it to go down to 5. Don't want it to go down to 5. Okay, that works. That one works for me. And then, so now what we need to do is we need to come over here. And we need to get something coming back out of this way. So let's go to 8. Or actually, we could go like 10. Okay. Let's see, we could do something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just looking at the... watch right along here. There's a little edge that goes from straight to curved as I move it around. So right there, it's kind of straight, curved, kind of straight, curved. And I think the smart thing to do is to knock this terrain back just a little bit further. Wrong one. A little bit further. Oops. I'll just push this out of our way a little bit more. Okay. And see that? That right there has pretty nice curvature all the way around. And then right here where it's a little funky, we're going to be building scenery on top of it, so it'll be okay. And then this. Always a nightmare dealing with this kind of stuff. One way to get like, whoa. One way to get like if we wanted to join this one up with this one is what we do is we go in here, we find the smallest size that will fit in here, and that's my my bracket keys. So that's the smallest one that will fit in there. So we could like do that, and then it'll just go right across. And that works okay. The other way to do it, let me just show you real quick. If we go back to the path. Is sometimes when you put it here, it won't go across. So what you can do is you could put it like on the other side first and see how it's doing that. But then if we go over here and we add one, then it will join up where we put the other one. So, I mean, that's another way where you can get a little bit more control over how it joins. And then, of course, don't forget that when you're doing this stuff, when you hold down Z, you can watch how it kind of changes the path a little bit, and sometimes that's more favorable. And then, so we got little holes and things in here. We'll put like little pieces of scenery on top of those to hide them. That's not a huge problem. And so now we've got this like real hideous path structure, right? It looks kind of terrible, to be honest. So now what do we want to do? We want to get the shops in here. I want my shops. So let's see. How are we going to get shops? First off, let's look at what people need. Yeah, I guess so. Any shops will probably do. Where are shops? They're in shops and facilities. Been a while since I've had to build shops. Drink shops. Let's get a coffee shop over here, right? Okay. Time for another little trick. Instead of trying to like lift this thing up, one thing you can do is just put it right on the path, and then use Z to rotate it, and then when you hold control, it'll follow kind of like the little axes that you built. And okay, so I said I kind of want the shops at like a little angle here. Okay, so there we go. That looks terrible. But if I hit X, it creates that little the 3 axes. And now we can try to like fiddle with it a little bit more, and we might get something a little bit more favorable out of it. And then you can move it up and down to determine if you want little stairs or mostly straight. And since we're going to put scenery on top of this, it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly parallel to the ground. You know, there could be a slight angle. Okay, so we could do that, and then I could push this terrain back even further because I'm pretty sure some of it's going to poke through the back of the shop. The other thing you could do, if we go to paths, is we could clip that little piece off. And that may give us a better connection to the path with that little bit gone. So now if I just, let's see. Yeah, see that might actually be more favorable. And if we just try like a couple different approaches here. So like maybe like right there could be good. So we got like a little bit of a line. I'm going to hit X, 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 X. Because I got it mostly in position. And then now I just want to get the path as pretty much flat as possible, as even as possible. And we can see back over here, it's starting to collide with the terrain. So I'll just move it in until it's right there. That I guess is a long enough queue for that. Sometimes I like to make them go back a little bit further, but that'll be okay. The other thing you could do is you could like, well, let me show you the other thing you could do on this side. So if we go back in the path and we do select grid and we select this one, come on. We'll select this one. So let us build like right there. And if you were to go in the shops and facilities, you could grab, let's see, what do we want? Gulpy soda. Okay, and then we put this pretty much like even. And we just drag it back this way. And then so now you could get like a slightly longer queue this way. And then of course you could adjust whether it's flat or not, right? So you could do that. But that's not how I'm doing mine. I'm going to delete that right there. I want them both at kind of like slight angles so that I want them at slight angles because there's going to be signs and stuff on them. When you're looking at it this way, I want to be able to see the signs and the shop front and same thing with the one that's going to be over here. And that's why I'm doing it that way. Soda. Okay, so about like that. And then we'll just, kind of move it back a little bit until it looks kind of okay. Oh, come on. The other thing you could do is just hit X straight from here and just do that. Okay, and then one other thing. Here's another little neat trick. Okay, I'm going to put it way down there because we've got it pretty much where we want. But what happens, what if you want like this shop angle, like the front corners of them, what if you want them to be in the exact same spot? Let me show you how you can do that. So we're going to go back and grab a beam, and we're just going to put it right there on that building. Actually, let's use a longer beam. Okay, and then we're going to advance rotate, lay it flat. All right, now we got a nice little measuring stick. Watch this. We put it right there. And what we do is we put it so that it's just intersecting that corner. And we know that it's going to be completely parallel with the path because the path is completely parallel and lined up with this piece. And we line the beam up with this piece. So we know it's all going to work. And we can go this way. We can go right across to here. And it looks like we need just a little bit longer. Okay, now when we go back over to our shop. And split from building. What? Yeah, I want to move it. I want to just advance move it right from here. I'm hitting X. Come on. Pain in the neck. Okay, there. Finally got the building selected. Hit X. Good grief. Okay, and then so we come up to here. And so what we want is we want the path to be flat. Okay, so there we go. The path is pretty much flat. Okay, and then we look over here, and it's this outside, the outside of the beam is where it intersects, and that's pretty much already where it is. So I did a pretty good job, but you could finagle it a little bit more, right? And we can see here that there's like about an equal gap between these two, so it's a pretty good. It's already in a pretty good spot. If it wasn't an equal gap, then you could fiddle around with it a little bit. And I'm going to hit escape because since it's already in almost the perfect spot, all I want to do is just lift it up. Okay, that's pretty much flat, right? Yes, and then we could push it back a little bit longer. you know, if whoa, what is the path doing? Okay, we're not gonna push back further. If the path wasn't behaving weird, we could have pushed it back a little bit further, and like the front corners wouldn't have been exactly lined up as they are, but nobody would notice. Okay, and that's kind of important. Let's save because sometimes the game crashes. And we lose all of our work. Okay, so now we have all of this, right? And you're thinking, my golly, what a mess. This is hideous. But then all we have to do now is build on top of it and hide all the ugly paths with scenery that looks like this. And anywhere where we have slanted paths, you just look for appropriate pieces. These are from the adventure pack. They're the temple blocks. Colored them slightly so they match the sandstone more. And we just fill everything in. And then likewise with the accessibility ramps, you know, just find something that you can put on top of them. So let's do a little bit of that. Let me show you what it's going to start to look like. Down here, I want this this seating area. I want it to be made out of wood. So I picked the wrong piece when I started. So let's just do a little bit of this really quick, just to emphasize, you know, how it would be done. And then we need to select these ones here. Bonk. That one we can get rid of. Select these ones. Boop. Okay. And then we don't need the one under here probably, but I'm just gonna keep it. Oh, and then there's another part I almost forgot. Before we go building all this, we still could end up having to make minor adjustments. And let me show you why. And so let's make sure that we got this like pretty much where we want everything. So going back to the like the size 4. Okay, so we see it snaps like right here. Okay, it snaps. Now if I don't move my cursor and I hit my hotkeys that change the width, and it's going to get wider and wider and wider. And so now we can go up to like 10. Okay, so if I do 10 and I click that, it's going to want to make stairs that connect to the bottom, but you can see they're curved and they're a little bit weird. If I hold Z, it straightens them out. Okay? So by holding Z, we now get some stairs. And then that's when you can go in and you can look at the existing steps that we already made, and we see that you know, they could, like if we just drop them down just a little bit like this, it will mostly cover the planet coaster steps. And then if we do Control X and we just move them out slightly, and then we go out this way. Okay. Now people are going to be walking up and down this. Okay, they're going to walk up and down that. And then if we go back to path, we're going to go back down to 4. And we're going to put it right here. Actually, we're going to put it right in the center here. And see, now that I've put these pieces here, I've got a nice spot where I can aim my cursor. And we're going to increase this up to 6. Hold down Z, and we're going to get some stairs right there. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. I'll just put my cursor right here. Click. It made that. Now, this one became more of a ramp. So it makes me think maybe we actually don't want this one here. Yeah, maybe we don't want the one that's over here. Or maybe I want to break this path and kind of make it a little bit more this way. But I don't know. I don't know. The other thing we could try is like if we click right here. Let's see. Is there any way? Yeah, see, it's like it's really redundant. It's really redundant. The other thing we could do is we could delete this one on the side. We could delete this over here and just let the accessibility ramp be right here. That would work. So if we put this like right in the center, and we just let that go like that, then now we can come over and we can just delete that whole thing. And then underneath here, I'm imagining that it looks really ugly. Yeah, it does. But nobody's going to see it, so it doesn't matter. See, if we move these over, you can see what it did to the path, but it's not going to matter. And that's one of the beauties of hiding the paths with the terrain and scenery, or with the scenery pieces, is because when we're zoomed out, it'll look like this whole thing is what they can walk on, even though the path is like really screwed up. And so we won't notice those imperfections. So now we come back over here. We're going to select some of these, deselect that, and we'll just, we'll go about there. Okay, about there. And sometimes because the tops and the sides of these are exactly in the same plane, you get flickering where they overlap. You can see it slightly. The way you fix that is just pick some of them and just move them slightly down and slightly back, like ever so slightly. And then the textures, they will no longer flicker on top of each other. So we're going to do that over here. It becomes a little bit tedious sometimes to click on the scenery pieces when the paths are like this. Sometimes you click on them and it won't let you. So then what you have to do is like drag and select and then deselect the things that you don't want. So just be mindful of that. And so now we're going to drop these down right here. Ever so slightly. So you can just see there's like the tiniest little line in between them back there. And then we'll do it over here. Okay. And then we'll do over here, and we'll deselect that. Okay, and then we want to connect the top up here down to the bottom. So let's see. Let's aim right for the middle here, and let's go really wide. Okay, 10's as wide as we get. And it ends up being a ramp, which makes the accessibility ramps like totally irrelevant. So the way we get around that. What? No. I did select grid. Oh, come on now. Select grid. Good grief. Whoa, it won't let me get this one. Why not? I've angered it. Okay, whatever. So now, if we go up to 10, and we aim right in the middle, doesn't want to. 8. Oh, it's too close. Okay, let's see. How are we gonna work this? How are we gonna work this? Let's go back to paths. We could go all the way down to 4. Okay, see, so now going down the 4 allows us to get the individual stairs. So what we need to do is holy moly, I didn't want that to happen at all. That was bad. Okay, here's what we do. If we delete this, oh gosh, it's hosing this whole thing. Okay, if we select grid right here, can I, come on, Planet Coaster. Select grid, I want that. I'm selecting grid. Come on. Ooh, Planet Coaster, sometimes you make me cranky. Sometimes. Okay, let's go for broke. So what if we delete that? Oh gosh. Oh gosh. What I need to select grid and just go out like right here, but it's totally clobbering everything. Because what I want... let's see. No, okay, it's going to have to just be imperfect. So I'm going to do the 4M, and it's going to connect there. 4M connects there. 4M connects there. That's good enough. That's pretty much what I wanted anyways. And then so now what we can do... you can't always get what you want. Remember, this game is an approximation of our true desires. We're going to duplicate, bring these over, put them back there. Okay, and then do something like this. And how exact you want these, is really, it's all up to you. Like, for me, it's okay that this little bit of the stairs is poking through right there. I'm not going to be that much of a perfectionist. And so what I'm really looking for is for the bottom and the top there to kind of look good. And then now if we come over here and slide them right over here, and we're just going to drag them right to where these two connect right there. And then we'll bring them over this way, get the steps in, and we're going to make sure they meet up right over here, nice and flush. Okay. And these little spots where the path like pokes through and looks hideous, I'm not going to show you in this video, but I'm going to show you like how I've hidden them in the past. And we look over here and basically just put beams and stuff on top of them, and then you can hide them, and it'll end up looking like this, and it ends up looking really nice. So it's not a problem. I've mentioned it in previous videos. Sometimes building in this game is getting the basic shapes and structure that you want, and then just throwing scenery on top of it until it stops looking ugly, and that's just like kind of how you do it. Now, let's go in here. Let's get rid of all these beams. We don't need them. And then up top, to keep the scenery theme similar to this, we're going to use these sandstone pieces. Okay, we just do this. And then we'll select the back row here. And we'll just do that. And then we'll worry about how everything's going to meet up with all this stuff right here. We can see that we got some stuff poking through the floor right here. That may not matter. We can see that the paths leading up to the shops are nice and hidden. And I think we can finally get rid of this building. We don't need that anymore. And then over here where we got some of like this stuff, I think what we'll do is let's edit this building. We're going to grab the wood platform if I can find it. Where'd it go? Right here. Give it one rotation. Put it right there. And then now, it doesn't really matter which building you decided to be a part of, but I'm just going to make an arbitrary choice that everything that's connected to any of the stairs is going to be part of the middle. So when I click into this building, that puts us back in this building to edit. And I'm going to put this right here. That's weird. And I'm going to hit F to snap it in place. And nah, I think I'm just going to move this in this way. Okay, and now we want to give it just a slight rotation without the angle snap until we're looking at the bottom here. And then you can just do this. Okay. And then we'll zoom way out to make sure that it's not poking through. Although we will probably put rails on it, so it won't matter in the long run. And then we can just go right up to here. Yeah, man. Okay, and when you get a case where, it does this kind of thing, just bring it up until it meets, and then just hide it. Or the other thing you could do, we could try to do, nah, it's not going to work. We need to undo two of them. So if we go back to this one right here, there was just a tiny bit of a gap there. So if we just bring it this way just a little bit, it may close that gap for us. All right, it could close it. Ah, almost. So we could put just like one little plank or something in there, and that would work too. Okay, but that ends up looking like that. What is going on down here on the bottom? Yeah, okay, it looks good. So if we click on this, select these three. Come on. Here's a neat little trick. If we get rid of this corner over here, we'll delete that corner. We have three pieces that are like perfectly positioned for the most part, and one grid piece. So if we select the three pieces and the grid piece, if we do a Control-D and duplicate, then all the pieces will move along the grid. And since this path right here is perfectly lined up with the grid, it may line up perfectly like that. See, it doesn't always work out that way, but sometimes it does, and you get a little bit lucky. Oh, and then the other thing we could do too Another option, instead of putting something down in here, is we could just take this one corner. So if I come in here, if I select this corner, you could just split it off from the building. Now it's its own building, and you could just move it like that. Because what's going to happen is you're going to put scenery and stuff up here, and this gap is going to get closed. So it doesn't really matter that this piece right here is no longer flush with all the other pieces. So I think we're going to do that on this side too, because I like that. I like that approach better in this particular instance. So we'll just slide this out like that. Okay. And then, ooh. Okay, this one looks particularly bad, like this set of stairs. So what we'll do is we'll come in here. Let's try moving them all at once. Now let's see. And then we'll take this one, move it that way. We need to bring it down just a little bit though. And then here's a cheat. You want to see a real cheat? Now we can see that there's a real discrepancy between this side and that side. So if you want, first I'm going to put it in position. You could go ahead and you could just you could rotate it like that and kind of get it more lined up. And honestly, when people looking from way back here, nobody would notice. Nobody would notice. However, I'm going to leave the discrepancy as is because I'm probably going to go ahead and hide this anyways, and so you won't even see it. This side over here is a little bit ugly, so let's just kind of just make some small adjustments with those. Okay, and there you go. That's pretty much where I wanted to get this done for this video. It ended up being pretty long. Hopefully those of you that watched it found it helpful. And this is how you can begin to build nice little plazas and stuff in Planet Coaster. And using the grid pieces, you position your platforms and things where you want them, and then use those grid pieces to get your path position, and then just try to connect things up real nicely where you can. And eventually what we'll have here is we're going to have a nice little plaza. The guests will be walking up here, hopefully, to get some food and stuff. And we'll put some picnic benches in here, and we'll kind of fence this in. So there'll be a few places to sit. And we could even put some of the benches up here as well. And so maybe they'll be sitting around up here. And it could end up looking pretty nice, although I have a suspicion all my other benches, they'll go unused and the people won't sit at them. And then we still need restrooms. There needs to be restrooms here. And so the way I may do restrooms is I may build a little building right down over here, kind of tucked in the corner, slanted off the pathway for the restrooms there, covered in the foliage and stuff. And that should look pretty nice. And with the drink shops up here, restrooms over here, and then maybe we'll convert this down here into some food shops. After we do all that, maybe we'll get really lucky and we'll actually have some guests using this whole thing back here, and it will look kind of populated and look nice. So that's going to be it for this one. Let me know if you enjoyed it with comments or thumbs up. You can subscribe if you're not already. Follow me on Twitter, and hope to see you in the next one. You guys have a good afternoon. Thanks for watching, and take care. We'll see you next time.